Alright guys, I'm back. Finally cleaned all this up. Got everything nice and painted, the carbon black, give it a little fresh up. So this is all good, ready to go in. I went through and cleaned each pigtail individually and separated each wire to make things easier to follow what exactly is going on. So that's all over the place. And then this, use the mock-up, we're gonna have to trim a little bit of the dash. We're probably also gonna have to trim. Now I was looking at it, which kind of sucks I painted it, but oh well, I'll get it back. But right here on the top and the back kind of extends a little bit more, and I think it's probably gonna hit this different, so I'm gonna have to trim some of that. And then yeah, so then we're probably gonna have to also trim a little bit of the dash, like here, probably some of this lip, because it doesn't necessarily fit. So I'm thinking like here to here, a little bit of trim, or possibly trim some over here so I can maneuver and slide this in, and maybe some up here on the top. I don't know if you guys can see that, but some of this bracket up here can go too. Probably this back little piece too, because there's no longer gonna mount up there. So I'll get a Dremel, come in here, trim this up, and then we'll get it to fit. I'll probably cut back to that, because honestly it's just gonna be a lot of cutting and nope, doesn't work, cut, nope, doesn't work, trim, no, it doesn't work. So I'll get a picture of everything and close-up of what exactly I trimmed to get that going, and then we'll start getting into this bad boy too and cutting into her to get her ready. So fun times. This is definitely gonna be the annoying part, but so we're back. My friend finally helped me. Instead of actually cutting most of this harness out and then soldering the wires together, he's a little bit of a wiring genius, I'd say, so big shout out to him. I don't know if he wants to be named yet or not, so, but if he is, I'll add him in the video and the comments below and stuff like that. But anyways, so instead of cutting and soldering, he actually showed me, and we depinned all the connectors except for this one. We couldn't get depinned, and then we actually repinned it based on the harness and following both diagrams. Had a little bit of trouble, and then we ended up using another diagram. I believe it is from, let me find out. Yeah, it was from an old post from Nervecom and Super Airtoy. So we were having a little bit of issues with a couple of the plugs. For the most part, we had most of them based off of their coloring diagram correct. I can point out that diagram. Yeah, so that helped us finish it all up. Surprisingly, most of the wires were exactly the same as mine, but I mean, obviously it's not going to be always the same. So mine was a 93, of course, and then 93, I have both cluster manuals. So yeah, this is the only one that we had to solder in. The rest of them, we actually literally repinned them exactly how it says to go, and you can plug it in for a test in a minute. But I'm just going to show everything first. So this I'll obviously clean up in a little bit whenever I get ready to put the cluster in, but also you have to trim out the dash. I'll show every little part that I use to trim out. So let me take you in here real quick. Alright, so the first thing you got to trim is this bezel right here. It's usually raised up a little bit, which will cause the cluster to be at a tilt. So you have to cut all this out right here, make it level. It'll line up to this metal. Mine's a little bit of a hack job. you're going to use a Dremel, so I used the rotating flat disc and also a little sanding belt, and sanded all this for the parts I couldn't cut up. So then you also trim, let me see if I can get a light. You're also going to trim all up on here, this little corner in the dash, and this little corner in the dash over here, right here. You gotta trim all that out because you gotta be able to wedge it in kind of and get it positioned. And then also right up here, you gotta trim, there's gonna be some fins over here. And then this back little mounting point for the S13 cluster, that one you have to get rid of as well. Sorry for the bad lighting, trying to get it all. So right there, I just trimmed it down enough, but not all the way. So if for, say, the cluster, because you're only going to mount it with 2 screws, if for, say, it falls in, then it'll hit that as a backstop. But yeah, you just also file down these fins over here. This side of the dash doesn't have any. And yeah, pretty much. And then I also trimmed these vents down a little bit to keep it level too. So I'll show you how it fits right now. Alright, so how it's gonna go in now is it just, hold on, let me push some of these back real quick. So with all those cut out, now I can slide in with the base down. And you can mount up like so. And these holes aren't going to necessarily line up. I think one of them will line up. There, it's flush. One will line up. And see, it's almost perfect. And there's barely any right here rubbing. So you have to trim it. But it'll sit perfect like this. As you can see, you will have a little bit of gap space here and here when you put the bezel on. This will all be covered. I'm gonna have to trim the bezel, but I'm okay with the little gaps, honestly. I mean, also best case scenario, if some reason something catches on fire in the back, I can just grab that fire extinguisher and spray it in there. But most people will get like I don't know, like a plexiglass or any kind of little plastic and just epoxy it here and cover up the gaps, making it, I don't know, I'm okay with the little bit of a gap. So for now, I mean, I'm good with it. But so in order, I'll put one screw good here, and then I'll have to get a self-tapping screw and kind of put it there, and this thing will be pretty sturdy. I mean, just sitting like this, it's already pretty sturdy. So, and eventually I might make something like a little bracket or a clip or something like that to like kind of hold it right here or something. But everyone just does the 2 screws on the bottom and it should hold. So I'll get ready, clean up the wiring, plug it in, and give you all a little test demo. It's a little bright out. Kind of want it to be a little more sundown before I finally give it a little bit of test too. And yeah, we'll do that and then start getting everything put back together again. And then right before we do that, we'll trim. I believe you have to take 1 inch off the top part, because if you know, the S13 cluster kind of curves like this, and this is going to be kind of stand up. So this, everything else will line up perfect. You just have to trim the upper portion like 1 inch, and it should like line up like right here. So I'll cut to that real quick right now, after I clean everything up and kind of get everything all nice and clean. I still got to vacuum a little bit. I vacuumed a little bit, but a little bit more. I got a lot of plastic shavings. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little progress. That's pretty much all you have to do to trim on the dash to get it to fit. And then obviously, yeah, you just follow the diagrams and go pin by pin. I think it was really cool, and the best option to do is to depin and repin, so it looks a little bit more cleaner using the OEM harness, and you don't have to worry about a lot of cuts and solders, and basically saves time and looks good. So huge shout out to my friend again for helping me, because I am in no way, shape, or form a wiring wizard. I'm not very good at wiring, so I'm learning from him and stuff like that. So huge shout out to him. But yeah, now I got it finally mounted in there pretty good. I had to tap one right here, and this one actually went in the hole. So now we're gonna actually see. Okay, make sure this is all. See how it works. Definitely accurate fuel. It's where I left it off. Kilometers, miles per hour. I don't know if temp gauge is correct. Should be really colder. But I did notice when I put the manual cluster, it read it better. So I don't know, but I do have the NX temperature sensor. The NX temperature sensor in a bag over there, so that should work pretty good. Yeah, check engine light. I just wonder if my speed is gonna work this time. It says I'm already at optimum temperature. Clock works. Definitely the way it's gonna look. That's how it's gonna look when you're in it. And I just gotta now trim and get the bezel on there. Let's see how that works. So cut back to that and show you exactly how much I trimmed off of it to get it to fit. If I end up accidentally breaking it, having to buy a new one, whatever the case may be, to me I feel like that's gonna be the hardest part. So I hate like trimming things to fit kind of flush. But alright, so yeah, I got it all powered up and working. So now I'll cut back and we'll see if the cluster fits. Alright guys, quick update. Sorry, I'll show you everything that I did to this. As you can tell, it's already close to breaking. I don't know if it was the way I mounted it in here or what, but I just couldn't get this bezel to trim. People were saying just trim like just an inch off of here. I had to trim like a whole lot of it, almost all the way up to here. I had to trim a lot of the side areas. I mean, it was already gonna poke anyways with these gaps right here, but I had to trim a whole lot of this, and I even had to trim a lot of the bottom just to get it to fit. And it's still like super tight there, super tight there. And yeah, I just had to trim this thing up so much. I didn't even get a chance to clean it because I was mocking it up, and then like it just shoved partially in there, and like I saw the crack kind of like flex. It was always like that since I've owned this, so it just got worse for me like trimming it, because I even had to trim right here too to get it to wedge in. So like I said, it shifted, and it shifted awkward, and I bumped this side, and when I bumped it, because you could tell, see, also it's still not completely on there, but as connectors are connected in, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. It shouldn't move around. This side's in, this side not so much, but that's okay. It looks decent. Earlier this was kind of propped up, so like I said, I hit this, it shifted all this over, and then I put the screws in here. I'm gonna buy another trim to kind of get this painted nice again, because it got ugly with all the trimming and I didn't get to clean it. I'm gonna still clean it down as best as I can while it's, but yeah, it's pretty much in there to stay for right now. Oh, and I also had to trim, I'll show you the pieces of it too, the back of these vents, because it kind of like curves out and curves onto here, but they just kept hitting, so I had to trim those too. So in all, I had to trim these. I had to trim the sides. I had to trim more than an inch all the way up here. I had to bring it almost all the way to the holes. And then I had to trim a little bit down here to get it to space. And I mean, I'm okay with it how it looks right now. I could have got away with it and just trimmed the top, but I felt like it would have been like a little bit more angled inward, which this thing's already 3D to begin with, so. And then, I don't know if you can see it, I got that screw to go a little bit better. And then this one too, I had tapped it, because I dremeled a little bit on the side of that flange, and it helped it just shift just slightly, ever so slightly. So yeah, I'm happy with how it is, so we'll put it all together and go for a test run and see how this thing goes. Also forgot to show you real quick, yeah, these are the vents that I was talking about, and a lot of this is all dash, that's cluster, and in there is a whole lot of dash. So yeah, it was a lot of trimming than I was initially told, but then again, like I said, it might have been the way I mounted, and a lot of this info has been washed away in the photo bucket of time. A lot of these old posts of people that did this back in 2010 and so forth. So I'm just trying to do my best. Like I said, I'll get another cluster and get it trimmed up to look nice, but yeah, that's pretty much how much I had to trim off just to get it to fit. So yeah, guys, everything's finally all buttoned up, nice and clean. Yeah, all in all, was it really annoying? Hell yeah. Would I do it again? Hell yeah. It's definitely a lot better than the other one I had. Definitely adds a little bit more spice to the interior a little bit. Gotta add a little bit more stuff, but yeah, I hope this helps everyone else who's trying to do this swap. It's definitely very difficult, very time consuming, but the only difficult part for me, I guess, was trimming the dash and then this cluster to fit kind of right, to look kind of OEM-ish. So I don't know, I don't mind the little bit of gap here and there. If anything, it's kind of cool, like if something catches on fire back there, I can just spray it back there real quick with the extinguisher or whatever like that, because you know how 30-year-old wiring is. But yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I hope this helps. I noticed there wasn't much information out there, but yeah, I hope this helps, and stay tuned for the next episode. I guess that would probably be the battery relocation or installing the fog lights with the new plate that I'm making over here to cover all this. So yeah, thanks guys.